I'm here together with Richard Hughes from Broadvision, also in the course of my interview series on the state of social collaboration. But first, Richard, can you please introduce yourself?
I'm the Director of Social Strategy at Broadvision. I've helped companies work out how they're going to use social technology and some new communication technology to make them more efficient in the way they deal with, internal communication, but also external communication with their business partners and their customers.
Okay, regarding the state of social collaboration and the use of a digital workplace in the UK, what's your statement?
I think we've gone through the initial phase of what was called Enterprise 2.0, Enterprise Social. I think a lot of people tried things out there, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. I think one of the main things we've learned is that using social media for interacting with customers is a completely different discipline to using social technology within the business. Those have very much split, I think, into two separate disciplines, which really they should have been from the beginning, because we confused the two with the word social. I think my main interest is in how we use social technology inside the business, and I think we're now seeing the application of that, sharing more information more widely, engaging with a much wider group of people. We're seeing that being used well, but not always being called social. We see it turning up now as digital workplace, digital transformation. But a lot of the ideas are the same about engaging more widely with employees, sharing information more widely, to equip people with the information they need to do their job, and that's a good thing. I think if I have a frustration about it, it's taken quite a while. I mean, arguably, the use of the term enterprise social set the whole thing back several years. People felt like it was, the old cliche about Facebook for business and people just messing around with social media at work. It never was that. But I think a lot more companies have realized that now and pressing ahead, perhaps with the same sort of project as an enterprise social project, but maybe under a different title of a digital workplace project or a digital transformation project.
For this second generation of projects, what would you state as the key characteristic of these projects? Also, where are they focused on?
I wouldn't say they're focused in one specific area. I would say the key characteristic is that they're targeted at the work that you were doing anyway. I think the first wave of enterprise social, it was seen as, well, this is just another thing you do, more work to do, sharing information. It really never was that. It was about using social technology to do the job you were going to do anyway, but do it more efficiently. And I think that's the difference this time around. These are being tied to real projects, real work that you would have to do, rather than it being this kind of bolt-on, extra optional thing. Now, you have to use modern communication technology to get your job done efficiently.
Okay, so this have to use this modern communication techniques. What does it include, and what do we, how do we need to enable the workforce to make use of this?
Well, I think there's a wide range of different types of communication. I mean, we all know email, and we probably all use instant messaging to some degree as well. But it's about using the whole spectrum of communication technologies, blogs and wikis and discussion forums, along with more traditional sort of person-to-person messaging. And it's about helping people understand what the right one to pick is. If I want to tell you I'm going to be 10 minutes late to talk to you, I could just send you an email. That would be absolutely fine. If I wanted to start a discussion with you and your company about work we might do together, then that perhaps wouldn't be right as a person-to-person one. That would be better as a discussion forum on a private but social platform. If we want to talk about ideas in the public forum, we might do that on a public blog. I think employees, perhaps first time around on social projects, were confused about how to pick the right mechanism, and if in doubt they all fell back to email because it was the one they knew. I think that now these are more established, the ideas of blogs and wikis and discussion forums, people have a pretty good grasp of what those are and are increasingly comfortable about understanding how to pick the right one. So it's a behavioural change. Just putting, as everyone says, just putting technology in isn't enough. You need to educate the workforce on how they're going to use it to help them pick the right mechanism for communication for the task at hand.
Which industry do you see, or which industry in the UK do you see is leading in this regards?
I don't think it's got anything to do with industry. I think it's got to do with the attitude to the companies. So you could have banks or insurance companies or retailers, if they have a forward-looking view and they have an aim to engage employees and their customers outside the company too. That's what makes the difference. I really don't think it's tied to any one industry. We see good practice and bad practice across the board.
So when it comes to recommendations, what is your key recommendation on developing these projects towards this second generation?
The way we normally start is by doing an audit of the way that a company is communicating at the moment. Now, that might not be the whole company. It might be, say, the sales and marketing departments. It might be product development departments. But look at the communication tools they're using. Look at the groups of people that they're communicating with and think, well, does this really make sense? We may be using 10 different tools here to talk to 20 different groups of people. Could we consolidate those? I think the explosion of mobile apps has led to a lot of what I'd call fragmentation of communication, splitting across different services. And people have downloaded an app, say, hey, this is good, let's start using this. And then a different team have downloaded another app and they've started using it and look at this. But the result is a rather uncoordinated mess of adoption rather than something that's been thought out strategically. So the first thing we do is say, right, let's stop. Let's look at what you're using at the moment. Which ones of these make sense? We talk to customers on Facebook and we talk to customers on Twitter, and that makes a lot of sense. We might actually find, though, I suppose I'm a bank, and I find that I'm talking to customers on WhatsApp, and that really doesn't make sense. That's much more dangerous. So let's look at where we need to consolidate. Let's look at where we need to stop things, perhaps for compliance reasons, and identify a more coherent communication strategy going forward.
Great. Thank you for the interview.
Thank you very much.